Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to this early edition of your Friday Mind Body Connection. The great news is by the time this class ends, our regular class time would have started. So if you weren't able to make it early, you can still enjoy the same practice at the same time as usual. We're going to get started right away. So go ahead and make your way to your mat and let's come into a seated position. Turn off the air conditioning because I know it's already delightfully loud in here. Yay! I'm just going to keep my mat as it is right now. A little change does us some good. I've lost all my timers. Oh, perfect. Magically, this timer started the same moment that our class did. And I look angelic from the light. All right, so make your way to a seated position of your choice. If it doesn't feel as great for you to be here in Sukhasana, easy pose. Remember, you can have your feet separated here, maybe one in front of the other. You can experiment with which foot feels best in front of the other, or you can come into something a little bit more tighter. Some people call it perfect pose, but in yoga, there's no such thing as perfect. It's just practice no matter what. If you came into a seated position and you found that your knees are all the way up towards your chest, be a gem to yourself. Find a block, a pillow, a towel, a blanket, something that you can roll up to provide a little bit of structure, to sit yourself up, to create a little bit more opening of your hips. And then again, you still don't have to have everything in super close. I'm gonna switch to my heels in line with each other. Take a moment right here with my legs in success and meditation. However, you can once again be seated in your favorite position, and I want you to just relax here. Start off by relaxing your breath and find one spot that you can focus your eyes and allow that spot to be either a couple feet away from you. You're not really staring at something intently, so see if you can make the object that you're looking at get just a little bit fuzzy, and we're gonna play around in a little bit with that fuzzy focus. Starting off our practice with our breath, we're going to give some attention once again to our eyes, as we did in a class earlier this week. Well, we did hummingbird posture the other day, so we at least experimented with closing our eyes and a little bit of warmth. Right now, I want you to focus on your big, deep breath, so finding the warmth within your belly. If you can resist holding off on drinking any sort of water while you're practicing yoga, one of the things we are trying to create is that your internal flame, your eternal internal flame. So it's good to feel a little bit warm. Frequently, as we're doing postures or things become a little uncomfortable, it's very normal to reach for something else that can just like make life feel easier. Sometimes it's telling yourself that you need to come out of the posture sooner than you really might. Sometimes it's, oh, let me just go get a prop so that you can distract yourself from getting into a posture. And a lot of the times it's, oh, let me just reach for this water that's right over here. Frequently, that's a way to just break our concentration. So I ask you to just be as focused as you can today. We'll spend one more minute here, just breathing. You've slowed your breath down. Tune into your body and notice if you're tensing anything more than you need to. Use your exhale to create a little extra space in those tense spots. Typical spots might be a little furrow in your brow, a little stress in your shoulders, maybe a little squeeze or tightness in your chest, or excessive rounding if you've been at your computer for a while today. Mellow out to the sound of them cutting into the cement somewhere outside of my apartment. All right, if you want to change up your seated position at all, you're welcome to change up your seated position. We're going to stay here on the floor for a little bit longer. I'm going to come off of this block if I can grab it with my hands. I'm going to open my legs because that feels good. Bring the stretch a little bit more towards those inner outer thighs. All right, so let's start off with a couple of just ocular stretches. I've been doing these a couple times this week, brought them into an awesome lunch and learn, so I want you to just start by rubbing your hands together. Create that amazing rain sound, and let's quiet our voices, or mine, and our bodies, and just enjoy the sound of the rain. Make that storm come a little bit faster. Feel that warmth you created in your hands, and then gently go ahead, cup your eyes. If you want to, you can bend your knees for a little bit of support as you place your palms over your eyes. Make sure you're not pressing into them, so cupping those hands over your eyes, the warmth from them gently radiates. Find that lifted length through your back. Try not to round down too much right here. You can always lift up. We're going to take 4 more slow breaths right here. Creating this little pocket of warmth and a little bit of extra darkness can really help encourage your eyes, your body, your mind to relax a little bit more. On your next exhale, release your hands to your lap. Already you might feel like that was like super harsh on your eyes to just come back to whatever light it is that's in your room. So think about that. Think about whether the next time you're working at the computer, maybe you want to dim the screen just a little bit to be kind to yourself. All right, feel free to keep those eyes closed. Next up, we're going to make some circles with your eyes. So with your hands down in your lap, either palms facing down on your thighs. You can even hold onto your knees for a little supported grip and to take any overarching or rounding out of your back. Or you can turn your hands, palms up towards the ceiling and just find that lift through the engagement of your core. A little bit of bracing, palms facing up helps us to receive a little bit more energy out in the world, whereas down helps with grounding, which you might need if your back's not feeling great. All right, so chin neutral to your chest. Open up your chest, gently squeeze those shoulder blades together and find a little engagement of your core. Make sure your rib cage didn't totally flare out as you opened your chest. And from here, with your eyes closed, no need to lift your chin at all. Just stretch your eyes up towards the ceiling and then down towards the floor. Look over to the left. Look over to the right. Back to center. 2 more times. Up to the ceiling. Down to the floor. Over to the left. Over to the right. Last time through. Up to the ceiling. Down to the floor. Over to the left. Over to the right. Now we're going to make some circles. I want you to move nice and slow with your eye circles. First in a clockwise direction, so up, make your way to 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Go around 3 times in each direction. And then change directions. When you're finished, just take a moment with those eyes closed, maybe even tucking your chin to your chest. You can even bring your hands, palms to your chest with your thumb touching on your sternum and use those thumbs to lift that chest up. Just a soft gaze on the back of your eyelids, completely relaxing your eyes. One more big inhale. And on your exhale, release your hands down to your lap and gently flutter those eyes open. Actually do some fluttering. Blink your eyes. Blinking your eyes is one of the best ways that we can lubricate our eyes. Frequently, if you've been sitting at the computer for a long time, they get really dry. So think about just giving yourself some blinks. The faster you blink, the more that you're just spreading around all of your awesome eye juice. I don't know, that sounds gross. All right, so next up, you're going to give yourself a thumbs up. Bring that beautiful thumb up in front of your face and take a moment to really hone in on your thumb. Allow everything around that thumb to become a little bit blurry. Take some relaxation of your shoulders away from your ears, so maybe that even helped you lift your chest. You're going to slowly bring your thumb all the way in. Starts to get a little fuzzy. Maybe now there's two of them as it comes to touch your nose. Take a big inhale here. And exhale, extend your thumb all the way out. Two more times. Inhale that thumb all the way in. Exhale that thumb all the way out. Inhale it in. Exhale, go ahead, keep it out there. Now I want you to look past your thumb. So allow your thumb to become unfocused in your mental photo and then tune back into it. Look at something further away. Check out your awesome thumb. One more time, look at something further away. Allow those eyes to settle and relax. Tune back into your thumb. Whoa, thumbs up to you. Awesome. Go ahead, relax your hands down by your side. Give those shoulders a big circle, whichever direction you would like to start in. Go ahead, change direction. Of those shoulder circles, really work to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Bring your hands to your shoulders, fingertips graze on shoulders. Bring your elbows towards each other. Start to find a little bit more rounding in your back. Stretch through those elbows. And let's continue with the circles. Chest pulls forward, elbows come down. Back, inhale, up. Find that rounding of your back, your belly, your lower rib comes closer towards your hips. You feel it more through your upper back and shoulders. Just moving nice and slow right now. Just getting our back involved in this warm-up. One more time in this direction. Next time your elbows come up nice and high, we're gonna change direction. So this time, opening back, closing down forward. Maybe make sure that the sit bones stay on the floor as you find this stretch forward. So not rolling onto the shins or the knees. You're amazing. This time as your hands, elbows come a little closer towards the floor, bring those hands to the floor. Keep your sit bones where they are. You can draw your chest forward though. Maybe your head relaxes closer towards the floor as long as you're not pulling forward. Find that length in your back and then your delightful rounding. Chin comes closer towards the chest. Walk your hands all the way over to the right side. Press through that left glute. Feel that big stretch through the lower left-hand side of your body. Even think about taking a little bit of movement through this left shoulder. Experiment with drawing it a little forward to try and get your two shoulders in one line and squaring your chest a little bit more with this right leg. And then also drawing it back and drawing your right shoulder forward. Take your time, walk your hands all the way over to the left side, come into your first stretch. So make sure that you're not just collapsing down towards the floor. See if you can inhale, find a little lift of your chest. Bringing that chest forward is going to bring more of a stretch down through the right side of the body. And now you can experiment with a little shimmy shake of those shoulders. Awesome. Walk your hands back to center. This time we are going to pull ourselves up and forward. So make your way onto your knees. Bring your hands, palms onto the floor. Give yourself a couple cat counts. Let's enjoy a couple awesome animal shapes while I tuck my shirt into the back of my pants like a total winner. Oh, you got your cat cow on. Hands, palms are just about underneath of your shoulders. Spread your fingers really wide like a starfish. Enjoy feeling that stretch through the webbing. Take a moment to shake your cat and your cow's tail a little to the left and the right. Bring the stretch in towards the glutes and also the hips, the sides of your thighs. Let's get a little bit of bird dog. Make sure we're really activating our abs, so keep your left hand down, right knee down. Inhale your right hand forward and through your left leg. Take a moment here to just point your toe, flex your toe, squeeze your glute with that toe flex. Point your toe, flex your toe, squeeze your glute, point your toe, flex your toe, point it out once more. Find as much length as you can from your fingers to your toes. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, bring your elbow and knee to crunch and touch underneath of you. Find a little extra rounding through your back, a little lift. Take a big inhale, exhale, send it out. Let's get 3 more. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen, press through that heel. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Awesome. Go ahead, release your right hand down to the floor and send your left leg out to the side. Bring your big toe down to the floor and bring your, away from me, block, and bring your heel down right behind it. Work to really press the outer edge of your foot into the floor. Enjoy such a delightful stretch throughout your inner thigh, maybe a little into the quad, depending on how tight your body is today. If you can't get the outer edge of that foot all the way to the floor, just do your best. Try not to sacrifice bringing your heel closer towards your body. Really work to have your foot parallel to the mat as much as possible. And if it feels good, you can even gently rock yourself back and forth. The more that you get that glute towards your heel, the more you're probably going to feel that big stretch towards your inner thigh. Just finding what works for your body today. Asking yourself, what is tired? What needs a little bit of extra love? Awesome. Coming back into the tabletop here. Keep that foot out. Inhale, lift yourself up. Bring your arms up overhead. Grab hold of your left hand with your right hand fingers. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Take a big inhale, stretch up, and exhale. Find a little lean over to the left side. Make sure you're not collapsing down to the left side. Chest isn't collapsing down towards the floor either, so really squeeze those shoulder blades together. Bring those biceps by your ears. Find your lifted length, and on one more exhale, reach all the way over to the left. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, bring your hands back down towards the floor, belly in to control yourself as you lower down. One more time, focus on pressing the outer edge of your left foot to the mat. And then gently draw it back in. Come on back to those cat-cows, relieve any tension that might have built up in your back. Find the motion that works best for you and your body today. And then let's go ahead and, where did we start with that one? Oh yeah, we did bird dog first. So this time we're gonna keep our left leg down, right hand down. Go ahead, inhale those opposite hand palms out. Find as much length as you can to begin with, and a little point and flex with those toes. Point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. All right, stop and flex. So your toes are a little closer towards your shin. You're squeezing that glute. You got some big engagement at the back side of the body. Eyes stay down towards the floor. Belly in, take a deep inhale. Exhale, bring that elbow and knee to touch. Hold onto that crunch for just a moment. Find that rounding in that back. Inhale, send it all the way back out. Flex your foot. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, send it out. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, send it out. Exhale, crunch. Last one, you're worth it. Send it out. Find that crunch. Extend, bring your left hand down towards the floor, and right foot comes out to the side. Bring your big toe down first. Plant the sole of the foot down, and then work to press the outer edge of your foot into the floor. And just breathe into it. It's a big stretch right here. Again, as it feels good for you, you can find a little shifting of your weight back and forth, but still really working to press that outer edge of the foot into the floor as much as possible. If you're really tight today, it might not be coming all the way down, and that is a-okay. Oh, wow. That is a stretch, y'all. Go ahead, use that breath, engagement of your core to inhale, lift yourself up. This time, grab hold of your opposite hand. Release your shoulders from your ears. Draw your belly in, squeeze your glutes, hips are pressed forward. So you already probably feel a nice stretch throughout the outside of that thigh. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lean over towards your extended right leg. Think about pulling your shoulder blades together so that your biceps are close to your ears and that chest is lifted. You're looking at the wall in front of you and not at the floor. Take one more big inhale, find that lifted length, and exhale, reach as much as you can over to the right side. Inhale, lift yourself up once again. Exhale, release yourself down to the floor, belly in, press the outer edge of your foot into the mat. Oh no, the animals are getting weird, y'all. Awesome, carefully take the time, bring that right leg in. Open those knees a little bit wider, send your hips towards your heels, walk your hands forward, allow your head to release down towards the floor in child's pose. If it's okay on your shoulders to keep your hands palms forward, keep them there, but remember you can always bend them if you need to. And if it's an opportunity, press into your hands palms to work to send your hips a little closer towards your heels. If you want a little bit more action or stretch through the upper back or shoulders, instead of keeping your palms flat on the floor, tent your fingers like a spider and press the pads of your fingers into the floor and see how that activates a little bit more of that upper back. Maybe you even stretch through one side and stretch through the other, bringing a little sway into those hips, a little extra love to the shoulders and low back. You can always still just sway those hips gently if your hands palms are on the floor or if you bent your elbows. Great. Now let's leave our hands where they are, lift ourselves up. We're gonna tuck our toes under, send hips towards the ceiling. Find ourselves in down dog. Pedal through those heels. Get a big stretch through your calves. As I once again tuck my shirt in like a winner. Yes, pedal through those calves. Then go ahead and walk your feet to your hand or your hands to your feet. Send the weight into your heels. Generously bend your knees. Let's sweep those fingers all the way up towards the ceiling. Take a moment in chair pose. So big inhale here. Exhale, I want you to sit down a little bit lower. Inhale, lift yourself all the way up. Exhale, arms relax down by your side. We're gonna come back into that squat and sweeping motion. So take a deep, big inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, hips go down. Sweep the floor. Bring those arms up and stay in your chair pose. Your feet can either be side by side or about hips width distance apart. Take another big inhale, lift your chest, exhale, sit those hips down and back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, arms relax by your side. Let's do one more just like that. I know it's a little challenging and I lost my head, but go ahead. Bend your knees, shift the weight back. Fingertips reach down towards the floor. Maybe even touch it, sweeping down. Bring those arms up, biceps in line with your ears. The belly is engaged. Your heels are invisible behind your toes, or otherwise you're gently gonna straighten your feet out. Lift that chest, take a big inhale, exhale. Sit yourself down. Inhale, lift yourself up. Palms come together. Bring those hands, palms down to the center of your chest in Namaskar. Great work. Take a big inhale, stretch those arms up, exhale, belly in nice and tight. Release your fingers down towards the floor. Inhale, come up into a half lift. Exhale, find yourself in this forward fold, getting some big stretches towards the back of the legs. So notice if you came into this forward fold, if you had your hips stretched towards the back of the room, I want you to gently shift a little bit of weight towards the balls of your feet, but only a little bit of weight. I just want to make sure that you're equally pressing through your feet. And then I want you to relax your shoulders. Maybe you even grab hold of your opposite hand palm behind you or rest your shoulders on your shin
so that they're not drooping down towards the floor, so you can find some engagement of that back. So squeezing your shoulder blades together and then a little lift through your hips is going to allow you to release the crown of your head towards the floor. Your drishti or your focus should be either like between your two heels or maybe towards the middle of your calves so that you don't have any extra wrinkles through your neck. And if you're looking between your heels, you're probably just not as deep within this posture. And that's totally okay. Release your hands to the floor, even if you have to release them really far in front of you. Heel toe those feet out nice and wide. Take a deep inhale. On your exhale, go ahead, bend your left leg. Press into your right heel. Lift it up, coming into Skandasana. Alex did some fun stuff with Skandasana earlier this week, stretching that toe back towards your face. It is okay if your left heel is nowhere near the floor. Let's go ahead, press ourselves back into a standing separate leg stretch. Ooh, yes, so good on those inner thighs. And then start to shift the weight over to the right. Bend your right knee, start to rotate through the left foot, and flex those left toes up towards the ceiling. One more big inhale, exhale, hands come to the floor, hips go up towards the ceiling. Let's get one more time on each side. Make sure those feet are out nice and wide. The wider that your feet are, wider than shoulder width distance apart, it's going to make it a little bit easier to get a little bit lower. So start to bend that left knee. Maybe you come onto the ball of the left foot. Flex those left toes up towards the face. See if you can lift your chest. Maybe you even use a block to help really lift yourself up here. And then hands, palms come down towards the floor. Rotate that foot back down. Send it up towards the ceiling. Shift your weight over towards the other side. A little Skandasana. Oh my gosh, that feels so great. Such good stretches towards those inner thighs. Let's go ahead and continue with those. Send hips up towards the ceiling, hands, palms down towards the floor. We'll get one more stretch while we're standing. So walk your hands over towards your right leg, pick up your toes, turn on your heels, and you might need to step that left leg back in a little bit closer. We're coming into pyramid pose. So I want you to relax your head down towards the floor and shift more weight into your front foot. Whichever foot you have in front, shift more weight into it. Remember, you can shorten your stance a little bit as you need to. A bigger stance can actually be a little bit more helpful though. Work to lift the hip of that front leg up. Can you find some rounding in the back and bring your forehead to your knee? You can keep your hands down on the floor, or you can challenge your balance by walking your hands closer towards each other, bringing your hands, palms together. We're gonna lift ourselves up here. So hands, palms, walk together no matter what. Bring them together, gently lift yourself up. Keep your chin to your chest the whole way up. A little throat choked compression sensation. Once you make it to the top, go ahead, pick up your feet, turn toward the opposite side. Move your hips 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Bring a little bit more weight into your front foot. Take a deep inhale, stretch up, and on this side, round yourself down. As you come on down, you can separate your hand palms to help you with that balance, or you can challenge yourself to keep your hands, palms together. Maybe you just have your thumbs that are touching one another. Shift some weight into that front leg to allow that front hip to lift up. Find some rounding in that back to bring your forehead towards your knee. Remember, if you need to, you can always work to shorten that step and then relift that front hip, 2 hips in one line. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms together. Once again, gently lift yourself up. Inhale, turn back towards center. Open those arms out nice and wide. Hinge forward, coming back into our separate leg stretching. Hands release down towards the floor. Release those knees down towards the floor. You're amazing. Bring your toes together. Open those legs out even wider. Gonna come into a little tadpole before we work into a little frog. So knees come really wide, and then you shift the weight forward. We're gonna kind of come into a child's pose. If it's too much for you, bring a block underneath of your belly as we start to bring the focus more towards the stretch on the inner thighs. And if you don't have a block nearby, you can always just stay gently propped up like a frog right here. But the more that you open those inner thighs and get as much of your delightful thigh meat towards the floor, your meal, blah, blah, the more you're gonna feel it. Ribbit, I should have said. Opening up those hips, a little in the glutes, big time inner thighs. Let's just spend 3 more breaths right here. Awesome. If you have a prop under your belly, remove it. Let's sink ourselves forward like a snake. Oh, extend those legs behind you. Take a moment. Make a pillow. Place your head on the pillow. Bend your knees and windshield wipe the legs. We're going to come back to a little frog stretch, but we're going to be so nice to ourselves because it's the weekend and we're going to do half frog stretch. So extend your left leg. Go ahead, take that right leg and bend it up. Can you bring it to a 90-degree angle? Right, that's 90. Okay. And then work to relax as much of your inner thigh on the floor as possible. You can keep this pillow with your hands. You can make a little goal post with your arms. That's a little too much stretch to try and add in that neck stretch, but I want you to really relax here. And I want you to focus on creating a little bit of a squeeze in that glute to work to get your right thigh, inner thigh, as close to the mat as possible. So being a little active here. Cool. Let's go ahead and change. So switch those legs out, take your time, extend the right leg back, shift your weight, lift that left leg forward. Come into that 90-degree angle as you can. So working to line your heel up with your knee, as opposed to having it coming in towards your opposite leg, more similar to tadpole. I want you to really squeeze a little glute, so work to press that inner thigh towards the mat. Awesome. Let's take a nice big stretch from our bellies. Walk that left leg out. Keep your left hand on the floor. Reach back with your right hand to grab hold of your foot. And see how much you can bring your heel towards your glute. Can you even gently lift your right thigh off of the floor? And see how that activates the quad a little bit more. If you were able to squeeze the glute and lift the right thigh off of the floor, that's exactly what I'm talking about when we're doing those standing stretches, about pointing your knee down and back. Because if we didn't do a little bit of pointing with that knee, our leg would have stayed on the mat and we'd lose out on a lot of this quad stretch. Change, switch it up. Let's go ahead, get the opposite side. So work to bring that heel towards your glute and then stretch through your knee, getting a little bit of a back bend, back opener here as well. Awesome. We're going to press ourselves up. We're going to come into hero pose or Vindrasana to challenge ourselves even more. So go ahead, separate your knees a little bit. Sit your hips down between your heels. See if you can really work those glutes all the way down between your heels. Your knees can separate slightly. Try not to point them too far out to the side. And then start by bringing your hands behind you. Make sure that your toes are pointing directly behind you. You don't want to have any sort of 90-degree angle with your feet here. So toes towards the back of the mat. Press into your hands, palms, push your knees into the floor. Find a little bit of a lift here. Nice hip opener.
Awesome. Exhale, release yourself down towards the floor. Take a moment, sit yourself up. Bring your hands on top of your feet. Especially if your glutes are on the floor. If your glutes aren't on the floor, I want you to just continue to hang out right here, applying a little bit more pressure and enjoying it. If you can get your glutes to the floor, walk your elbows back one at a time. Bring them down. Bring the back of your head down towards the mat, top of your head, and then you release down to the back of your head towards the mat. Glutes are still touching the mat. You can bring your arms up overhead and create the perfect human bridge here. Try not to let those knees lift too high off of the mat here. So continue to press the shins into the floor. Big stretch on your quads. Take one more big inhale. Carefully come out one step at a time. So bring your hands back to your feet. Place your elbows on the floor. Press and lift yourself up. Take a moment and bring your legs back together, grounding right here. Inhale your arms up overhead. Bring your hands, palms together. Cross your thumbs. Take a deep inhale, lift from your waist, and exhale, hinge forward. Slow as you can. See if you can work to bring your forehead to the floor while still kneeling before your hands, palms touch the floor. It's okay if your hands, palms touch first, and then work to create a little extra leg. So stretch your fingers all the way forward. Squeeze your hands, palms together. Tilt your wrist up. Only the knife edge of the little baby finger is touching the floor. On your next inhale, lift your hands up. Slowly lift the rest of yourself up. Exhale, relax your hands down by your side. Let's get one more back bend, one more forward bend, finishing with a little bit of the floor series from Bikram. So press yourself up onto your knees. Knees are about hip width distance apart. If you need to, you can create a little pyramid with your feet behind you. We're gonna bring our hands to our lower backs nice and high. I like to say like they're going into our high-waisted mom jeans. High-waisted mom jeans have come back, so they're cool now. And then squeeze your elbows towards each other. Squeeze your glutes, push your hips forward, and keep your hips on top of your knees. So unlike before when we brought our hands behind us and our hips were all the way back and we pressed forward, this time with our hands on top, our hips on top of our knees, we're gonna find that backward bend. So squeeze those elbows in towards each other, take a deep inhale, lift your chin up towards the ceiling, and if you're feeling really tight, this might be all you're able to do today. Maybe it's hard to even lift that chin up towards the ceiling. Keep that belly nice and tight, keep those hips forward, squeeze your glutes, and slowly, gently trace a line with your eyes to see the back of the room. If you can see the back of the room, if you can even see your mat, you can reach down and grab hold of your heels, or you can keep your hands on your hips the entire time. I don't quite feel open enough today to reach my hands down towards my heels, so just staying supported in this camel. Make sure those hips are still on top of your knees. If you brought your hands to your feet, bring them back to your lower back. Use some support to gently lift yourself up. Exhale, release your hips down towards your heels. Take a moment with your grounding right here, back to your breath. I told you we're making lots of animal shapes today, so we're gonna finish up with some rabbit. All right, so you're gonna reach back and grab hold of your heels from behind. I'm gonna turn sideways, so in case you need a little visual. I promise if it's hard for you to reach back and grab hold of your heels from behind, and you can find some rounding in your chest to make it happen, that as we go down a little further, it's gonna be easier to get your hands onto your heels. So draw that belly in nice and tight, tuck your chin to your chest, and aim to get your forehead on your knees. It's pretty likely that your forehead might not touch your knees, but you bring your head down towards the floor. And you can keep this space where it is because you don't want to move your head while you're applying any pressure. But if your head came down really far of your knees, you can always walk your knees up one at a time to come a little bit closer towards your head. Squeeze on your heels. There's actually very little weight or pressure on the top of your head. Most of your grip should be on your heels.
On your next inhale, you lift your hips up and work to stack your hips on top of your knees. Keep squeezing your heels in towards each other. Use your next inhale to lift those hips up a little bit more, round forward. And on your exhale, slowly, gently, sit yourself back up. At the very top, you release your chin from your chest, and then you release your hands from your heels. Go ahead, shift your weight, send your legs forward in front of you. Let's get a nice caterpillar stretch right here. So find some lifted length of your belly, and then exhale, hinge forward. One more time, lifted length, and then exhale, feel free to round down a little bit more into this stretch. Can you flex your toes back towards your face? So once again, bring more of a stretch towards the back of your legs. And then on your inhale, pull yourself forward and up. Take your time carefully. Lay yourself down on your back. Extend your legs out in front of you. Great news, we've made it to final Savasana. Feel free to open your arms, open your legs as much as feels good for you and your body today. And then sink into the mat. Allow it to support you. Know that when you are here on your mat, you are in a safe space. And this yoga practice is available to you anytime, any day, whether you're on your mat or not. Simply closing your eyes, changing your breath, tuning into and changing your mental channel to one that works for you. Try to resist the urge to fidget. Let's take 10 slow, silent breaths together. Excuse me. Hopefully you're feeling relaxed and melted into your mat. If, however, you're not feeling relaxed, if you were fidgeting through those last 10 breaths, I encourage you to hang out on the floor for 3 to 5 more breaths. Just encourage yourself to take this time, take this focus, to be as still as possible, to let the rest of your practice sink in. If the stillness 100% isn't working for you, that's okay. If you did your best, it's always enough. You're welcome to stay in the final Savasana for as long as feels good for you. The longer, the better.
If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did today, I hope that you will reach out. I hope everyone has an absolutely wonderful weekend. Think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds. Take some time to nourish yourself from the inside out. I can't wait to see you all again soon. That's all the time we have for now. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Know the light within me honors season is so thankful for the light within you. Thank you so much for coming and checking this class out. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.